The neurodiversity is the idea that there is naturally occurring variation in the way humans think, that our neurology and our cognitive profiles are naturally diverse. In the same way that there's biodiversity across the whole planet, there is neurodiversity in the way humans think.
Neurodiversity is a new and I think quite an exciting concept, a powerful concept that's reframing a traditional way of thinking about neurodevelopmental disorders and conditions to focus on the strengths and celebrate the differences among neurodivergent people.
Neurodiversity isn't a synonym for disability, and neurodiversity isn't an umbrella term for the conditions that we tend to think of or associate with neurodiversity. Neurodiversity includes all of us, including neurotypical thinkers.
There are a real range of stereotypes associated with neurodiversity and neurodevelopmental conditions. Now, the biggest stereotype really is that when people hear the word neurodiversity, they think of autistic people, they think of autism, and they think of classical Rain Man type individuals. But that's the biggest misconception, if you like, where neurodiversity isn't just about autism. It's about a range of conditions, overlap between those conditions, rather than about one condition per se.
Research suggests that in the UK, as many as 1 in 7 of us could be neurodivergent. 10% of the population with dyslexia, 5% with ADHD, 5% with dyspraxia, 5% with dyscalculia, 1 to 2% are autistic, and 1% with Tourette's syndrome.
We don't know enough yet to really say this thing here is always this thing, it always looks like this. And then if we are saying that, and then we're saying this one looks like this, and then we're lumping them all into one category, it's not going to help you predict what people might need or want. And so we're still really focused on that individual level of what does this individual who's in front of me need, express.
What's important on this question is that the research on this is quite mixed, and that for any individual person, they may or may not have some of these strengths. So the way in which you address any employee and sort of speak to them, it's really about sort of seeing that person as an individual rather than making assumptions about their strengths based on pre-existing stereotypes or theories.
I think one of the benefits, it makes you think in a different way. Because when you can't get certain tasks done, even a basic thing, you have to think outside the box on how to do that task if you don't get any help. So it makes you think laterally, I think.
I've got the ability to make, more rational decisions than other people. I'm not influenced by other people and what other people might think.
We are problem solvers. We're empathetic. We've got great communication skills in that sense. And everybody needs people like that in their organisation. So, we normally say to the employers, don't let the word dyslexia put you off employing somebody.
I feel like analysing patterns I'm really good at, which is really helpful for the role that I'm in, because it means I can take something away and have a look and say, actually, have you considered doing this because I've noticed this, this and this.
I think there are several examples of success stories in terms of neurodivergent people within the workplace, but also more generally in society. For example, Richard Branson, who's reported to have ADHD and potentially other neurodivergences, is of course incredibly successful, incredibly wealthy, and a real entrepreneur. We also have younger neurodivergent people like Greta Thunberg, who's reported to have autism, who's had an incredible impact on climate science and encouraging people to engage in pro-environmental behaviours.
So people assume that autistic people aren't going to be good social communicators, and actually plenty of autistic people are brilliant social communicators. Some are fantastic actors, so we can be very limited by those labels and very limited by the stereotypes associated with each condition.
They think we lack empathy, which couldn't be further from the truth. We feel things very strongly. We just don't necessarily express that empathy in the way that is expected of us. That we're bad at communication, but we generally tend to communicate very well with other neurodivergent people. It's the communication between neurotypical and neurodivergent. We're straightforward and clear, and that's seen as rude.
Generally speaking, Parking stereotypes just generally is a good idea. I think all stereotypes are potentially damaging here. And again, we should really focus on the individual in the same way that we would focus on any individual employee that came into our workspace. A lot of employers say to me, oh, we need to get on board with neurodiversity, we're going to start a hiring programme. And my first response is, you already have people. You already have people. How are you supporting the people you already have? Let's start there rather than hiring.
As part of performance reviews, as part of team meetings and regular catch-ups, try to sort of normalise the discourse about the strengths and difficulties that all of your employees are having. And as part of that, you can flag up examples that might be linked to neurodivergence that might help to support your colleagues. To give you one example, many people, regardless of whether they're neurodivergent or not, struggle to work in open-plan, noisy offices. Now, bringing up that discussion or potential difficulty as a more general thing, rather than focusing on the person as a matter of their neurodivergence, means that people don't feel ostracized or targeted. And it might also mean that non-neurodivergent employees can benefit from changes that are made to the workplace that are also benefiting neurodivergent people.
In my company, Genius Within, we do a thing with all members of staff. We say, how can we support you to work at your best? And just that question, how can we support you to work at your best? Just stop there. Everyone can be asked that question, whether you have a disabling condition or not, and every manager and employee relationship can benefit from learning what someone's strengths and weaknesses are.
So while some of these terms, these topics, or these concepts of neurodivergent and neurotypical might work its way into everyday parlance, and it might be useful, and some people might prefer to use those terms, it's important to keep in mind that actually, it might sound a bit cheesy, but we're all human. We all fall under that spectrum of human variation. And neurodiversity as a concept is going some way to remind us of that fact.